All right, good morning, good afternoon. Hope you are doing well. Let's go to your purple packets. Take a look at our bell work. We are on day 6, and it says to factor. Again, this whole chapter for 11B is on factoring. Also, just a reminder that you guys are going to have a skills check on Friday. So hopefully you've been watching these videos, doing the homework as you go along, and we'll have a chance to prove that you've been doing that and that you understand it as it comes to you through a skills check on Friday. All right, so number 1 says to factor 2x minus 8. As I look at my coefficients and choose the smallest one, I'm looking at the 2. 2 is a factor of 2 and 8. And there is an x, but no x, so 2 is the greatest common factor. And when I divide, I have 1x minus 4. So your factors are 2 times the quantity, 1x minus 4. All right, number 2. If you think about the steps for the greatest common factor, or the steps for factoring, first we look for a greatest common factor. Well, this has a coefficient of 1. That's not going to be helpful. I don't have a variable for each of the terms. So then we go to number 2, difference of squares, which you'll learn about tomorrow. And number 3, we go to X box. All right. So first of all, I want to know and see that A is equal to 1, B is equal to 7, and C is equal to 6. Here I do my X. A times C goes in the top box, which is 1 times 6 is 6. B is 7. And if you were paying attention yesterday, any time that your sum is larger than the product up at the top, you're going to be talking about the number itself and 1. So let's do our box. And in the first box goes the first term, x squared. Last box goes the last term, 6. And because we're dealing with a variable of x, I can use 6 and 1, so that is 6x and 1x. And as I look at each row, looking at the top row, well, that looks pretty difficult to read. X squared and 1x. This will be a 1 in front, so I could say 1x. I only have 1x to be able to divide by, and I've got 6x and 6. This is a positive, so this is going to be a positive because that's the first factor in that row. Looking at the columns, I have x squared, 1x squared, and 6x. So that too is also going to be 1x. And at the end, I have 1x and 6. 1x and 6. So that is going to be a 1. And putting those together, my factors are 1x plus 6 and 1x plus 1. All right, I am going to pause. Okay, I think I'm going to have to stop the rate. So, factorization of this is this right here. And then let's go to the last one. X squared minus 4x minus 12. Notice A is equal to 1. So greatest common factor, it's not going to work. Difference of squares, not going to work. So we are on to X box. Well, there we go. So X, but before I get to that, my A value, the coefficient only is 1, B is equal to -4, and C is equal to -12. The top part of the X is A times C, which is 1 times -12. So that is -12. B for the bottom is -4. So I'm looking for two factors which multiply to give you -12 and add to give you -4. Because that is a negative, we know one of the factors is going to be negative. And because this is a negative, that means my larger number digit is also going to be negative. So I've got 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So I'm looking at 2 and 6. The larger digit is negative. So that means this is going to be a +2 and a -6. And so we go to the box. And as mentioned previously, the first term goes in the first box. The last term goes in the last box. And the two factors that we just found fill in times x, whatever that variable is. So that's going to be 2x and -6x. Look at each row, find the greatest common factor. You've got 1 and -6. That's going to be 1 is the greatest common factor. X squared and x is going to be x. We've got 2 and -12. 2 is the smallest digit. 2 is also a factor of 12. And that is a positive, so this is also going to be positive. Looking at the columns, you've got 1 and 2. Greatest common factor is 1. And we can also pull out 1x from each of those. And in the second column, -6 and -12, because the first one is negative, we want to pull out that negative. And 6 and 12, 6 is a factor of the greatest common factor of both of those. So there's my answer. I do need to rewrite it. Okay. Times quantity 1x minus 6. And there is our factorization. So even though yesterday the lesson was on factorization where a was greater than 1, in this particular problem, we don't have that. Notice my picture today. I know it's really cold out there, so hopefully you bundle up when you're outside and stay warm. All right, so let's put the bell work away. I think yesterday that we did all the examples that we had for the section that we were in. Yes, and we're going to get to that tomorrow. So let's take a look at your homework. Okay. This is homework number 3. Homework 3. And if you have been paying attention, I did do problem number 24 with you because I did see that we could factor out a 2 from all of those, which makes the new trinomial a little bit simpler. Okay. All right, so let's see if I can find another one. Let's take a look at the back side here. I don't see anything there. Trying to think in my head. Let's try. 32 looks very large. Hmm. 28 looks a little interesting also. Let's take a look at 28. Sorry, I'm not there to go over some of these that you might have some questions on, but let's take a look at 28. So as we go through, remember, take a look at your directions. It says to factor the polynomial if possible. If it cannot be factored using integers, and that's the key word, integers, write prime. So problem 28. So we go through our paces. We look first for a greatest common factor. And I've got coefficients of 5, 3, and 4. No common factor there except for 1. And not all of them have an x. 2 is... oh no. Saving notebook. I'm glad it's saving. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's not going to let me write right now. Hopefully this will be done soon. Otherwise I might just have to talk through it without you seeing it. It says 100% complete, but it's not letting me go. Well, I'm going to start talking through it and hopefully it will be done soon. So, no greatest common factor, no difference of two perfect squares, so it is the X box. Oh no. Okay. I don't know if it's going to save correctly. There it did. Okay. Back in business. Difference of squares. That's not going to work. X box. And first of all, we go to our A is equal to 5. B is equal to 3. And C is equal to 4. So in the X, A times C, the first times the last, 5 times 4 is 20. And the B at the bottom is going to be 3. So I need factors of 20, which add up to be 3. So, we got 3, no, I was thinking 30. 3 is not a factor of 20, and we got 4 and 5, and so I know I've got them all. So as I look, I could either have a positive times a positive to give me this positive 20, or a negative times negative. And as I look, 1 and 20 definitely don't make 3. 2 and 10 definitely don't make 3. 4 plus 5 is 9. That definitely does not add up to 3. And even if they were all negative, a negative plus a negative would be an even larger negative. So this is the case where it says, if the polynomial cannot be factored, write prime. Here, none of these happen to work, so this we would write prime. Okay, so number 28 is prime, but you can't just write prime at the beginning. You have to do this preliminary work and see that it is prime, that it doesn't follow through. Okay, so finishing up this homework, if you haven't already, complete the other 4 problems on the front here and then go to the back, 3 problems at the front. Which one doesn't belong? Again, you're probably going to have to do some work, okay? So finish this page up. This homework is due tomorrow, should be due tomorrow, and be ready to turn that in, okay? Tomorrow we'll talk about difference of 2 squares, and Friday will be a skills check. If you have questions, maybe pass those along to the teacher, and that probably is not going to work out very well. So just do the best that you can. Follow the notes. Look at the videos again. Remember, you can pause them. You can fast forward them to a section that you don't quite understand. Watch them again and do your best. Refer back to your notes. And just remember, we do have a skills check on Friday. All right, that's all I have for today. Hope you guys have a great day. Stay warm, and I will be back with you tomorrow with another video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.